guys, what's going on? In this video, I wanted to talk about the knee crush submission that Lucas Hulk Barbosa hit on Jozef Chen. Now, it's not a submission we see terribly often, but I want to kind of give you guys some insight into what exactly happens with this submission, how it works, and what kind of things can get damaged in the knee if you don't tap in time. So let's look at it real quick. So first of all, here's Hulk and Jozef went at it at the CJI, had a great match back and forth. You can see the stress on that knee, on that right there, on that ACL. So let's keep going, let the video go. So one more time, he's extending, and then Josef's kind of stuck, can't get out. So from this angle, we'll be able to see the tibia or the shin bone start to kind of get pulled, as you can see right there as we stop it. So let's break it down. So you have the figure 4 lock. So he's got Josef's hip kind of locked in place. Now he's hipping in to create more bend in the knee, and he's got his elbow there, his forearm there as kind of like a wedge. So creating a gapping in that knee. And what that does is it stresses the ACL and the other ligaments in the knee in multiple ways. What you're seeing, if this is the knee, you've got a wedge in between. So he's got the knee bent, you've got a wedge in there, and then you also have him hipping in and extending to create separation between those two bones, the tibia and the femur. He's creating separation. That's going to stress that ACL, but also is going to stress some other ligaments and maybe even other structures, cartilage in the knee, like the meniscus. So let's look at, in here, we're going to look at a normal ACL. One of these is going to be a normal ACL assessment, and then one's going to be the damaged one. So you can see here, he's giving a little pull. There's not a lot of movement in that shin, and this one has a ton of movement in the shin. And then let's do that one more time. We'll see. So not a ton of translation there, not a lot of movement, and then boom, you got way more movement in the shin. So that shows that the right knee has a ruptured ACL. It's got way more movement. It's just one of the tests that we would do. There's 2 different tests that we can do for that. As you can see in that one, that shows like how much more movement. So the ACL is the main ligament that stops that shin from moving forward. And so those multiple ways that Hulk kind of created that wedge, and then that separation of the knee really stresses that ACL. So let's look at some anatomy, a little anatomy lesson here of the knee. So this is what we're looking at, is the right knee. So this is the right knee. So in the picture towards the left, it's kind of like a side view almost. And you can see that LCL, which is the ligament on the outside of the knee. And then you have your ACL in there. And so you can see how the ACL attaches from that femur, that thigh bone, to that tibia, that shin bone. And the orientation of it keeps that shin from moving forward. Again, if we look at the picture onto the right side, this is looking from front to back again. All right. And this is again looking at the right knee. And you have that LCL on the outside of the knee. And then you have the ACL right there and the MCL. And then those blue discs are the meniscus. So that's a basic, visual of what that ACL and then the other structures in the knee look like. So you can see how that anatomy is impacted with, a submission where you're, creating a wedge, overly bending the knee, and then creating that separation in that joint. So they can separate and it can cause damage. Like we talked about, primarily, I think it stresses the ACL. And then you've got some other structures that can be stressed. You can get some injury to the MCL and LCL because, again, those are getting stressed as well. Not primarily, but they are getting stressed. Then you've got possibly some injury to the calf muscles, the tendons. It could be some bruising. I mean, there could be some other more extensive damage there again. And then let's look at one more visual. This is just the ACL is in red, and you can see where the ACL is. On the left side, you have a normal ACL, and on the right side, you have that ruptured ACL. So just an idea to kind of see. So again, great submission from Hulk. Jozef Chen's a stud, and I'm sure he'll be back. Hopefully he didn't get injured too bad. But those are some of the structures that can be injured. That's kind of essentially what happens in the knee with that type of submission, where you're creating that wedge and then that separation, so that the wedge, the overly bending or flexing, and then you have that separation, which is what Hulk was doing, and put a ton of stress on that ACL and that knee in general. So great job to Hulk. Great win for him. He's someone we'll also talk about in a later video, because he actually suffered a shoulder dislocation 5 weeks prior to competing at the CJI. But again, once in a lifetime opportunity to win $1 million. He went after it. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a later video. So if you guys have some additional questions on anatomy, the structures of the knee that could be damaged, or this type of submission, what happens, shoot me some comments down below or some questions down there, and I'll get those answered for you. And again, appreciate y'all checking out the video, and I'll talk to you next time.